Good evening and welcome to What's So Funny, the show that probes the brains, the minds, the psyches of the people that make the funny. This week, a very special show. It was recorded on location at Yuck Yucks after the late show last Saturday night when Mike Wilmot was in town. Mike here from Toronto. Pete Johansson, Vancouver comic, was the headliner, or not the headliner, Mike Wilmot was the headliner. Pete Johansson was the MC that evening. We got together and we chatted and we chatted and we chatted. And here now is that unedited interview for you. 1 hour in duration. Have fun.
Seem to get excited. I don't know.
This is gold. Now we're on the air. The frivolity. I got Mike Wilmot as a guest, and he's brought along Pete Johansson. We're sitting at Yuck. Yeah, you're just a string along. You weren't scheduled to be on, so all my questions are for Mike Wilmot.
All right.
And I know Pete will just jump in.
He'll do my overflow. That's what his job is. He's Mike Wilmot's overflow guy.
Aww. Pete has never been short of words, so
no.
And opinions.
Wow.
And whoa, is this
especially
bad?
When he MCs, eh?
He's
Jesus.
trying to be.
You feel like you're just doing a guest spot on the Pete Johansson show.
That's because I went to Patrick Malia's comedy school.
Yeah. More is better.
I'm denying the audience if I do less time.
So you guys were both, Pete, you emceed the show this weekend. Mike, you're here from Toronto and England. How was the weekend here? Is the reputation of Vancouver audience is true as what I hear? Are we really that tightly wound or PC or?
I don't think so. No, not at all. I think people that come to I think if you're in a PC community like this is, going to a comedy club is where you get it out of your system. So I think you're allowed to go as far as you can because they're not allowed during the day. I think this is a very Victorian place still. I still think Queen Victoria lives here. I'm sure. She's well into her hundreds, but she's hiding behind a bush somewhere.
And this is Brown is about.
Yeah.
You guys both play all over the world. Pete, you were just in, Qatar and Abu Dhabi. No, I had to ask you earlier. I forgot Dubai. And Mike, you're big in England, and you play all.
I'm big everywhere.
Larger than life.
England is. I've been going there for years. It started as something sort of exotic and turned into a bank account.
When you're over in England, it's interesting because the one guy that every single place everybody knows is Mike Wilmot. And
really?
And every comic, myself included, drops his name like he was saying.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Sometimes it's worth it.
Oh, he's my best friend.
Nowadays, I'm phoned to verify. Do you actually know Pete Johansson? Yes, put him on.
So how did you end up in England to begin with?
Like most of my career, a wonderful series of mistakes. I did the Montreal Festival, and a cameraman asked me, they were shooting a show for Britain, and he said, do you mind doing this show? And it was like an extra $1,000, and which was a great deal of dough in 1995. And I thought oh yeah, I'll do it. And then 6 months later, they had me perform in Britain. It just... I think what they say the secret of success is learning how to fall upward.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of my first. I've always been one to, well, that looks interesting, and I'll fall into it.
So you spend how much time? Do you spend half a year there?
At least half. This year, though, I'm trying to stay home, just because. See, that's all part of the backstage thing. It's all this. He holds us in while he performs. We all do.
I thought that was his fiancée.
Wow. Oh, hey, man.
Really? Just because she's Asian? You're just going to pick on her like that?
She's Asian?
Wow.
I didn't know.
Oh, I just thought she was slender.
No. Her eyes look retarded, but that's Asian.
Yeah, I just figured because she was with you.
That's so sweet.
It was actually retarded.
No, that's amazing.
Well, this fell into a hole.
So, do you play? I know you've lived in the States for years, and you play around the world. Have you done England much?
Yeah, well, no, not much, I guess. This is
We were roommates in England a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We lived in a horrible flat in the south of the river.
Brixton towards, but not quite.
No, not quite. No,
yeah.
near the Elephant and Castle, Lambeth North.
Yeah, Lambeth North, and there's me, you, and Arj Barker.
And a council flat that smelled of cat shit.
Oh, my God.
And pot, no doubt. You
can't buy weed there.
You can't. It's all hash.
Hash and raw and horrible crap.
Oh, yeah.
Everything they've got is crap.
Wow. Wow, and just in this apartment tested your level of hygiene. It was the dirtiest.
I lost
apartment.
it. I finally lost it, and I went to the store and I got like 5 bottles of bleach and cleaned the whole place up. You would move the couch, and you would move the couch right back after you saw what was behind the couch. It was cat crap.
Yeah.
And the cat, which was one of those bold cats, Devon Rex, would drag all your food out of
if you
and hide it behind the couch.
This room would be like it would be a death chamber for somebody with compromised immunity. It's like toxoplasticity or whatever that toxoplasticity.
People with cooties, people that are afraid of cooties.
Oh.
I don't know what your listenership is, but I want to. Let's play both sides of that conversation.
Man,
so if you got the cooties, bad place to be. You don't remember Patrice O'Neill?
Yes.
He was going to be our roommate, but he couldn't fit in the tub. It was an English tub.
It was a great tub. It was deep because you had the little thing.
You had to turn the water heater on an hour before you took a bath.
Oh, and then you could only fill it half full and then let it heat up again to fill the top half.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
like horrible. A kettle.
Glamorous show business.
That's what it's all about, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in England for half a year or more, it's not like this.
Not anymore, no. Thank God, no.
Because you're doing TV and everything.
Yeah, but not real TV.
Are you? We walk down the street.
Well enough known that once every few days, someone will go, "Aren't you? You're Canadian," and then walk away.
Yeah,
but enough to fill a small club.
I'm too well known to go to bathhouses anymore.
Yeah, but that was that. Yeah, you had your poster up for a while. Have you seen this man?
I saw you on YouTube on a show called Nevermind the Buzzcocks.
Is that on YouTube? What the hell is it? That's it.
What the hell is YouTube?
I know that now. It's a game show. Yeah.
It's a music game show. Now, you were just saying you don't have an iPod, so are you up on the music?
No, I'm horrible on that show.
So have you ever won? Have you ever?
Never. The only song I ever guessed on that game show was it was like a gay anthem, "Man Eater" by Hall & Oates. 3 episodes I did of that show, and that's the only one I guessed right. I don't know. I started singing Stompin' Tom Connors on the show just because they have these odd English bands. You would never... not the ones that came over here. And they did, don't you know Johnny Carrot and the Carrot Boys? They used to do no, that never went anywhere. Don't you know Brixton Blues or something so like just for the Max Webster of their... You can't guess Max Webster. Well, you can if you're Canadian. Not Kim Mitchell; those are horrible songs. But Max Webster and everything.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I think my idea wasn't good now.
See, on stage you would have covered that better.
You would have.
Yeah, but
I don't have a good idea no more. I'm done.
Leaving.
Yeah. What's the worst kind of audience that you have anywhere in the world? It's just a type of audience.
Corporates. I don't do them because that's too much of the regular world, and I've rejected the regular world. That they have to be on my territory.
Yeah.
They have to come to a comedy club, a comedy night, a concert night, something themed in comedy. I will not go over there. I will not cross the river to be like some fucking monkey entertaining people in suits that are all talking about donut sales, because I reject that part of the world. I agree with a guy I saw when I was a kid. He used to play with the Preservation Hall Jazz Band at a New Orleans, 90-year-old man. Said there's 2 kind of people in the world. There's day people and night people. Day people work every day, all day long, to save up a little extra money to give to the night people. And I am a night person, and I don't entertain those fuckers on their own ground. I won't do it.
Yeah, but you must have a price tag, right? I mean, they got the money.
Once. I told you this earlier.
Yeah.
In Britain,
Tell me.
I was offered £4,000 to do 20 minutes at some corporate event. That was enough to cover a trip my wife and I wanted to make. We'll go, well, screw it. We'll go for like 3 months. 1 gig. So I will do it. And the day the gig was when the bombs went off in England. When the bus went off. 7/7?
Oh, man.
That was God Almighty saying, I told you, no corporates.
Did you get paid?
Nope. And if I ever meet Osama bin Laden, he owes me $4,000. That's all I'm gonna. I won't tell anyone where you are. Just give me the $4,000. Just between the two of us, winky winky.
Pete, the worst kind of audience for you?
The same as what Mike said.
Actually, the people that want you to take them into the mood to laugh, the people that bring an ego to the room and aren't there for a good time, but think it's your job to force them into that psyche. Yeah.
I know what you mean. There are certain people that come to a comedy club, I think, because they think this is where you acquire a sense of humor.
Yeah, rather than people that want to come just to have a good time, they're challenging you to force them.
Yeah. Make me laugh.
Yeah, it's just why there's no point. You want to come to the club because you're in a good mood because you want to elevate it.
Or you have a sense of humor and you want to bring it up a notch. But there are people that I think have been told at office parties, you're really dull and humorless, so they look at a comedy club like, I'll go there then.
Yeah,
and that'll teach me how to. No, wrong. You're dull and humorless. Just be proud of that in a horrible way.
And this can be anywhere in the world, right? These audiences, these types of people.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere you go, you run into that.
You can't generalize about regions or countries.
I used to, but I think that was more of an excuse if the show went wrong.
There's more socioeconomic difference than.
Oh, here he goes.
So no, it depends on the way people. I'm gonna get wordy, aren't I?
Yeah, you know what? When you run out of ideas, you bring out the thesaurus.
I'm sorry. No, we'll tell you what.
I'm drawing a blank.
Different folks are different, economic.
I see in economic stance, and you know what they say: half a dozen to one in economic strife with the other. That's what they say.
You're the only guy I know who's able to shut Pete up.
It's a gift.
Wow. I don't think I talk that much, to be honest.
That's why it's difficult to shut you up.
What about when you're playing countries that English isn't the first language? I guess it's the you're not getting those native people, those native language speakers at your audience. You're getting the foreign.
What is all of a sudden this? Hey, this is a setup.
I know. This is.
Who are the audiences for this?
Some night, and certain times you'll entertain people where English is the second language, like in Denmark or Holland.
So they know it well enough.
Well enough, but you'll do a joke and you'll lose them, and a joke that normally does well. And I think if you then ask the question to the audience, where did I lose you? You can have a ball. So last time I did Amsterdam, that was pretty well the whole show, was me finding out where I lost them. And then trying to explain the joke.
I've found that they don't. They'll chuckle, but it's like that realization. I had this in Amsterdam where they get it, and I'd see them nod, and they get that in the moment, and they'd start to clap.
Yeah, but that's just
sort of a weird.
They think you've done a trick.
Yeah.
The British call them squareheads for that, eh?
I didn't know that.
I did the Edinburgh show one year, and a reviewer. I used to bring 3 pints on this stool, because it was like when I drank the third pint, that was an hour of time on stage. And a reviewer said, if anything, go see his amazing beer clock. And I had a Dutch couple, 2 Dutch couples, like a week later, came out specifically to see the amazing beer clock, and were hugely disappointed when it was just 3 pints on a stool. So they're squareheads.
There's some literalness to it. Yeah, wow.
And if there are people listening, that there has to be that are Dutch. Come on. Put the phone down. You know.
I love the Dutch.
They're funny that way.
Freaking awesome.
When you do a joke, if you spritz with the crowd, they'd look around to see, like, do they have a script? I wasn't given a script. Like, the concept of one person telling jokes in front of many people fucks them up right there. One guy, I remember in Copenhagen, was opening for me. And he's doing it in, that would be Dutch.
He's actually speaking in Danish?
In Dutch.
In Dutch.
It's Copenhagen. That's Danish. That would be Danish.
Danish, yeah.
Killing. And I went to the other guy. Kirsten Bang was the name of me, another comic out there. I go, wow, this guy's doing really well. And he goes, well, it's Bill Hicks. He just did Bill Hicks in Danish.
I see.
And that wasn't that bad with them. Like the audience thought, well, that was theater.
That's amazing. So he's doing impressions of American comics.
American comics.
That's amazing.
Oh, and telling the audience.
Really good material in other languages.
You won't find it. You won't find it.
Translated.
The best of the Dutch, but hey, pretty warm today. That's good, isn't it? There's a Northern European comedy team called Jurgen and Crazy. And you know, I've never seen them, but you know it starts with, "Hello, I'm Jurgen," and the other guy goes, "And I'm crazy, but I'm not actually crazy. My character is crazy." They'd explain it before they started.
You guys, it's always fascinating to me to hear the hell gigs, because even at your advanced experienced stages in your careers.
The Yuck Yucks in Vancouver, how fucking advanced is that?
Yeah, but what's the hell? Do you still get hell gigs, or this really early in your career that happens?
Their hell gig, I think.
Like the worst one you've ever had.
Well, that's, a hell gig is when you're not ready for it. But I think the reason you don't get hell gigs is what would have been a hell gig isn't, because you know more tricks to keep it from being a hell gig.
Including the trick of turning down one.
Yeah. And the money in the bank. They go, "Oh, fuck off. I'm not doing
I don't need
cornhole."
this money anymore.
Freddie, that was my last one-nighter in Canada.
Oh, really?
And I made sure I did it to make it my last one-nighter. It was Freddie's in Cornwall. Not a bad gig, but a horrible one-nighter. But I made sure, I told everyone there, "This is it. I'm doing better in another country. I don't need you fuckers anymore." And I say goodbye to them. But I think now, last night, for instance.
Oh, the Late Show.
Late Show here. Drunk weirdos every time. Now, if I was a young one, it would have crippled me. And it would have been a hell gig. But instead, I just put the needle on the record and raced the fuck through it. Closed my eyes and ducked a lot.
Yeah, I hated that crowd last night too. Just the ego of the
No, just drunk and stupid. Just drunk and stupid.
It's always usually just a group, a small group within a big
bachelor party last night with two guys. You just saw the cockiness with the arms behind the head and the whole.
Comedy in North America is turning into Chuck E. Cheese for grown-ups. And there's clubs in Britain. The Junglers comedy chain is the same thing, where it's customer-based. Ask everyone if it's a birthday, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I first got into this game, it was counterculture that got me into it. You'd go to this weird basement. I used to be the dishwasher at the original Yuck Yucks.
Really?
At Bay in Yorkville when I was a kid.
Before I saw you at Laugh Resort?
Way before.
Wow.
When I was like 20 years old, I was dishwashing at the original Yuck Yucks Club.
Just trying to get into comedy?
No, I needed a job. I was trying to get into comedy too, but I wanted to be more of a comedy actor kind of thing, but I fell in love with stand-up there. And there was never, "I don't give a flying fuck about your birthday." Yeah. Fucking Breslin used to rip women's purses apart on stage. It was anarchy.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
What changed it?
Popularity. Once you bring in the average Joes, you're fucked with everything. Once things become popular, the rules change. And why do you think idiots like that asshole that ripped off Louis C.K. Dane Cook? That kind of stuff is big because people don't give a flying fuck about quality. They want a nice. He looks cute, but that's the mass of comedy. I can't stand. I still think it exists here. I don't think comedy exists in fucking sports arenas. It exists in little nightclubs where it's supposed to. You're supposed to say stuff. You're supposed to expose people in this game, not just parody.
Expose them to what? Your ideas?
To the reality of the world. To unshackle people, make them fucking better, make them think clearer.
I dislike the push towards boring comedy that the States has been pushing so aggressively around the world with this, just because people like predictability in the U.S. market so much. It's like
they want safe. It's always safe.
Yeah,
Canada's always been a place where comedy thrives. And all of us did it years ago. To starve, you'd still do it. It was never fame-based in this country.
And there's something dishonest about being so puritanical and never swearing and keeping these general ideas. It's like we're not like that in real life. Who doesn't swear in real life? How is that?
I don't like.
Well, don't you think as long as they're true to themselves and not putting on a
that's a good that's a good point. If you're truly like that, like a Brent Butt, then it's story. He was better than Cosby at his best on stage. I adored him, but that's real stuff. Yeah. Guys like the Leno school of it's like cheating to swear. That I always thought was crap.
Yeah.
You speak the language you speak in life.
Well, even guys like Brent Butt and Erwin Barker, they don't throw it around liberally, but if it needs to come out, it'll come out. As, the swear word or the idea, subversive or whatever, right? So it's not that they're just keeping it clean like the Jay Leno type where you can't.
No, they're legitimate.
So they will if they have.
They're legitimately like fight. No one's. Those two are the best examples in this country. Derek Edwards is another one.
Yeah.
Just tremendous wordsmiths, write wonderful jokes. I don't have that kind of time to think.
Yeah.
It just comes out of me like diarrhea. I've never put that much time into preparing. I destroy a room with. It's like a wonderful vomit of comedy.
A wonderful vomit of comedy. You're listening to Mike Wilmot and Pete Johansson on What's So Funny, CFRO 102.7 FM in Vancouver, Vancouver's cooperative radio. Now back to the show.
Don't stare at me, guy. I meant that.
Like you? Is that like you? How much preparation do you put into it?
For a show? None.
No, you have a coffee and you don't go in the room, do you? He was up in the lobby. I don't want to go in the room too early.
I don't like looking at the audience.
Careful of that shit too. Don't be.
I've never.
You had that little cup you were so happy about.
Oh, I need to have a coffee before a show, absolutely. But I never think about actually performing until I walk out onto the stage.
Right.
I don't think anybody. Well, I guess a lot of people do. I don't know.
Well, preparation in terms of writing and during the day or anything, or is it just sort of ideas that come to you and you work it?
10 years ago. I haven't written anything. I write on stage. That's the only place I write.
So you are producing new material. It just comes out on stage.
When I just go off on topics, that's when I write material on stage. I don't write off stage. I'll come up with an idea off stage, and then I take it on stage, and I work it out.
Mike's desperately trying to get another beer, but did you hear what we're talking about? Is that how you write, too?
What? No. My jokes very slowly come to stage through first a random thought, then might get jotted down to me slowly looking at it over and over and over, then slowly spreading it around. Then it's like watching a stalagmite grow. It's very slow. I'm in it for the long haul. I don't care. So it's very, very slow with me. I'm very nervous about bringing things on.
Because you lack confidence that they are funny, or?
No, maybe. I think it's more of me being comfortable saying it. It's when it's fluid. It's a little better when it's fluid. So I do a lot of open mics. I do write on stage, but I open mic it as much as humanly possible to get them out, just to say what happened, because it's normally about me. And then slowly start carving out jokes out of it. So, I'll bring the big log out on an open mic. And so, in another 4 months, that's going to be a wonderfully crafted chair or something. Yeah, I do not quickly. I don't have the brain for quick. But you see some guys now in America. I think there's a turn in America, though. Dimitri Martin, who I adore. It's going back to really well-crafted jokes, and he farts around when he does the jokes. He's adding multimedia if you go see him live. And he's like 25, 26 years old.
Microsoft pays for it.
No, they didn't when I first saw him.
Oh, really?
He quit Conan O'Brien. He was making a lot of money writing jokes, and gave it all up to go on the road. I love that kid. That's great.
That is cool.
Do you think that TV is part of the reason that, as you guys were talking about, that comedy is becoming too safe and predictable, that people are seeing it on TV?
Aren't we talking about the internet, multimedia at this point? Everybody's YouTube watching it.
Well, yeah, you can say anything on the internet. TV, mostly on network TV, you can't. So are you getting those people out? And that's why the comics are still trying to appeal, try to get on network TV.
I go old school with all that crap. I think if you destroy a room and you give it your best, it'll be full next time you come. I think word of mouth will still fill a 200-seater. Mm-hmm. I don't want to fill anything more than that, but I think word of mouth is all you need. You have a slow Thursday and a busy weekend, because everyone that saw you on Thursday, this still works. I love it because it's a pure thing to get yourself worked up, but you don't think you haven't MySpaced them into the room. You've actually done it through old school ways.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm an idiot.
I interview a lot of. You're drunk.
I had one beer.
I know.
Speaking of one beer,
hello.
Have you closed everything?
There's no way to find Mike Wilmot a beer?
Talk to Rich. He's The money man over there.
Hey, look, here's a little radio fun for your radio listeners. This is the glamour of show business right now. It's a fat man in a hotel in Vancouver trying to get another drink.
Saturday night.
And the noise you hear is the man that's going to give me that drink, but he's counting change. So, oh, hear that? Oh,
Jeez.
I'd love another Canadian.
We got some Canadians. Cold.
Not on the radio. There's Canadians.
Just one?
2 Canadians.
I interview a lot of comics, celebrity type
So you
comics.
think you'd be better at it.
Yeah,
You would think.
huh? Yeah,
These
wow. How
celebrity comics who come
Anybody
through,
make you nervous?
who are, we'll get to that in a minute, but who are playing the theaters, right? Who are playing the theaters, and I always ask,
This
like,
is going to Dana Carvey, isn't it? Because you went to see him today, and you're all excited.
no, and but I often ask them, if they miss
Dana
the clubs.
Carvey?
I asked. No, I
Ask
didn't.
who?
I
Who
didn't
asked?
ask.
Was it Dana Carvey?
Just
Come on, it was Dana Carvey.
Mrs.
You did.
Healthy
You did. You won't put these interviews back to back now because it looks like because I know.
I didn't ask him that. I didn't
Mr.
ask him
Carvey.
that.
Excuse me, Mr. Carvey. Have you noticed it's 2007?
Carvey now?
He's
Isn't he
50. He's got to be well into his 50s.
54, I think.
How does he look?
He looks like he's 25.
It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, he has
You know
that.
why? Because he must be sweet.
Really?
Sweet people last. Well, that's why. Look at you ragged bastard.
No, these guys are cut off. No more. Now, I was going to ask.
No, they're both mine.
I often ask them if they miss working the clubs because they, to me, I agree with you. That's where it's real. That's where you have the best comedy in a
I
club.
agree.
And,
I agree with you.
And more often than not, they say, hell no, I don't miss it at all. The theaters, everyone's paying attention to you. They come to see you. You don't have to win them over.
Theaters
No,
are nice
fuck 'em.
too.
Theaters are nice.
Yeah, I like
But-
theaters.
I was in this country for too long that became what I thought was comedy was turning a crowd over. So much to the fact now that when I am in Britain and I'm doing a theater, I don't trust it otherwise. Like, what are you people? Why are you liking me right away? You're shallow bastards. I don't want to entertain you. But I like winning them over. I think that's a Canadian entertainer's task.
Well, that's what we grew up on.
Because no one gives a flying fuck. They have you have to win them every bloody night.
Because it's not fame based. You're not in it.
You're not fame based. Plus, we're Canadians, and
Tall poppy syndrome in Canada. We always want to cut down the top dog in every room. That's just our nature,
that's him talking. He's selfish.
But they don't
He
want
made
to
me
do-
work every night, eh?
Oh fuck! You destroyed
Every day. No, but that's because I was working. I like to phone it in. You know me. I'm on vacation here.
How old were you when you got into comedy? Were you a late starter?
No, just not very good for a long time.
Oh,
I was I did me and my buddy from high school. I was 18, and we did the original Yucks at Bay and Bloor. Then I was a dishwasher for a while. I think I started earnest when I was about 22, so that's 22 years ago.
Wow. Pete?
I was like 16, 17.
16. Oh, that's right. You were doing it like in Kamloops or someplace? Kelowna.
Yeah. But I worked with him when I was 18 years old on my first tour to Toronto. He was MCing
Who was bartending where?
the Laugh Resort.
Were you working
When,
dishwasher when who was the bartender that's been there for the whole time?
Thank you. I've lost control of this interview.
Wait,
Teddy.
Teddy.
Yeah, I was a dishwasher when Teddy was there.
And his wife.
Vivian.
Vivian.
They've been there since day one.
That was the original. They said
They're still there.
Hulu's place.
Yeah, and they go up to Sybil's Point where we go camping.
Yeah.
I realize I'm yelling through your interview.
No.
Of course I am.
My interview.
This is back.
Taking questions from the audience.
People don't. This is not odd. This is fucking staff. I was the dishwasher. This is real. You listeners at home. This is glamour.
How long were you the dishwasher?
I failed horribly as a dishwasher. Stand up, I did well. The dishwashing, horrible.
How's it for you to shoot her job?
Oh, that was horrible. I was a shooter bartender, but I didn't have the memory. I'd have to ask, honest to God, if I made 9 B-52s, I would make 9 from the book. And then the next order would be, can I have 2 B-52s? And I'd have to get the book out again. It's dark on the bottom. That's all I know. You know what that's laughing there? That's staff laughing. That's when you know you're funny.
Oh, it's true.
Screw fucking audiences. They're all gone now. This place smells of vinegar. That's a good staff.
Oh, you said you were bad for many years. I don't believe it. But were you...
No, I wasn't banned. I walked.
You walked rooms?
No, I was banned from Yucks. I left Yucks when I was a young
He was
young
the
one.
house MC at the Laugh Resort for years.
Yeah.
I was there close to when they first opened and they hired him, and I was there with Simon Rakoff like 2 weeks in. I bombed the entire week.
He was a kid
I know.
in Toronto.
I was 18, yeah.
Like, that's a big city to get nervous about. You and your streetcars. Oh, how can I entertain these people?
You remember him when he was...
No, not about, no.
Blended into the
I don't remember nothing.
Yeah.
I barely remember working at the Laugh Resort.
Yeah.
That was the year. There was a lovely new club opened up in T.O., and we were fighting the Yuck Yucks regime, and then I realized that the outside was shittier than the Yuck Yucks.
Yeah.
And I joined Yucks.
It's funny because
They would have union meetings and go, the last time I played this club, they gave us the wrong kind of rental car. And I remember me and Barry Kennedy going, these fuckers get rental cars? I couldn't believe it. So we joined up with them.
I remember I was on the outside too, and then all the guys that left were at Yucks, and they'd lecture me when I went there. Boyd Coons was there, and Boyd was like working at Yucks at the time, and I went and did a guest spot there. And you can't work both clubs. That's wrong. If you're going to work, and then he becomes the guy that says, you should be able to work everywhere. Right after it's on the outside.
It's a silly system. They want to build unions, but you can't unionize free-thinking enterprise as weird as stand-up. That if there were a union, like a guy that puts plungers on his head, I would have to go on strike because he wasn't getting booked in Kamloops. So screw it. No, I'm sorry. Funniest guy climbs to the top. That's it.
I wish it were like that. That's not true.
Right? Oh, yeah, neither one of us. Fuck, I have to go up 9 rungs to get past Pauly Shore, for Christ's sake.
Right, you were just talking about Dane Cook, the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah, but an actor first, eh?
Well, now. He wasn't before.
Oh, he must have been.
I think he's talking about the concept of acting. I like the whole performance based over the writing. You know what I mean? Yeah, take things to literally their McPherson.
So you guys struggled early in your careers, as you said. I know you've told me that, Pete. Was there an aha moment where you just go, bang, I get it now. I know what I'm doing, or is it just sort of...
I think we both share the same moment when we both realized, oh, fuck it, we're not going to make it.
It's a resignation where you...
I dreamed when I was a younger man of a cottage and or a mansion and a yacht, where now I'm really satisfied with a canoe and a hut.
Yeah, just a place where I can go where I'm not being stressed about my mortgage every week.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, that's all I want.
I want to buy it with cash.
Yeah.
And I
just want to pay the property tax off till I'm dead, just so I don't have to worry about that.
And
that's it. And
I'm having a reoccurring dream about owning a bait shop as being like my retirement. You get like a bucket of worms, but it's $80 because it comes with a story.
I see a sitcom.
Hey?
I see a sitcom. The bait shop owner.
Oh, well, that's it. You heard it here first.
Oh, we were thinking of that.
It's that you and also what's his name from Timmins there, Derek
Edwards
always have the same sort of simple beauty.
Knowing each other. The worst part about being best friends with the funniest guy in the country
5 days after
is on your off days you're laughing like little children. Yeah. So it drives our wives crazy, but I think we still really are in it for that I can sit around and laugh my arse off. Like I'm so satisfied with nothing. I'm
your wife?
Walking with Rich in London, and he asked me a question, which I think he meant it on a bigger level. He said, "What do you want?" And I replied, "Chicken wings." And there was a look of, that is what you want, isn't it, you stupid bastard? And it was. I wanted, London they don't have chicken wings.
You know what else they don't have? Slurpees. How good would a Slurpee machine anywhere in the UK
There's a
be?
place now you would love. Now, we went to Britain years ago before this, but you'd love this.
Where is it?
There's a businessman from Atlanta, Georgia. Can't eat the shit they eat. That British shit. Yeah. Opened a place called Bodine's.
Oh, no, I went to Bodine's.
Did you go? Oh, man.
I went there. It was fantastic.
For the visitors that are going to go to London,
yes.
It's in Soho. It's on Poland Street. It's called Bodine.
Yeah.
What do they serve?
Oh,
Pulled pork sandwiches, real hot dogs, Coca-Cola with tons of ice, proper French fries, and they play the North American Sports Network.
Yeah.
So you can watch NHL, you can watch the NBA.
I watched the Super Bowl there in January.
Glorious. And a place called the Maple Leaf.
Oh yeah, the Maple Leaf
In
Canadian bar. Yeah.
it's so funny. We don't have enough culture to fill the whole bar with stuff. So it's really it is true. A few Mountie references, a lot of poetry from people you've never heard. All the poems are based on "I'm Not American," and Mounties again. A lot of beaver and sleds.
Canadian music. Anne Murray playing.
They don't know.
No, they don't.
I wanted to bring in some Canadian tunes, and the bartender would be thrilled. But I just stopped hanging out there because it was really fucking embarrassing.
Because everyone knows you as you're that Canadian guy.
No, that's Glenn Foster.
Oh, I know, but you said in England, every couple days, somebody will stop you and go, "You're from Canada."
Yeah. Well, that's where Glenn got the idea. But it doesn't work so much if you're Canadian in Canada.
Is Glenn tour over there?
He was in, and I brought him on my show in Edinburgh last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Talking about Edinburgh, I've been reading this year from the critics overseas. There's too much stand-up in Edinburgh.
Oh, they've been saying that for years.
Yeah, stand-up is
I was there on the breakthrough year. It was 95, where before 95 it was really considered a theater arts festival. And then for some reason, 1995, it turned into a comedy festival. But what else is going to offer you? It's slick to what it demands. They want low budget shows that people produce on their own. That's what the Fringe is about. And stand up doesn't need backgrounds. It doesn't need extra actors. They're looking for the most base entertainment, and stand up is that.
and yet it still manages to cost a fortune to put up a show.
Does it? Have you done it?
No, I won't.
That's a myth. I've done it 5 or 6 times. You got to get a guarantee.
Yeah, it's hard to get a guarantee when you.
Well, try working it. Hey, what the hell? With your reasons are stupid.
No, I don't want to work hard. I smoke pot and play Xbox.
So do I. Well, PlayStation. Is Xbox really that good?
Oh no, I just got Halo 3 the other day, and I'm just waiting.
I've never even played any of the Halo. I like the robbery ones.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I like I'm a PC gamer. I like the Civilization, but Xbox is good for poker and for I got that Side Out game with the naked the girls playing with the volleyball. That's worthwhile. But you feel creepy jerking off to a video game.
Well, how do you? Well, you have to with both hands on the controls. Yeah. Is there an extra thing you got to use?
You got.
It sounded a lot like a bet, but we just made that up, ladies and gentlemen.
You know
That's
how
how quick these guys.
You know how to edit on the iPods, right?
I don't actually. No. No editing allowed. This is real, folks. You're listening to Mike Wilmot and Pete Johansson, recorded live last Saturday night at Yuck Yuck's After the Late Show. The station, CFRO 102.7 FM, Vancouver's Cooperative Radio.
I'm still convinced it's a cigarette case.
You mentioned Rich a minute ago. That's Rich Hall you're talking about, former Saturday Night Live
It'd be weird
guy.
if it was like Rich, the
Scheidner?
No, he's the guy
out of Boston.
He's the guy that does all the impressions.
Rich
from
Little.
Rich Little. I met him at the first Comedy Awards. He's huge. Even I don't care what you think. But his plastic surgery was one of those. There was a dividing line between his jawline and his turkey neck. Where that was the first time I've seen that kind of plastic surgery done.
Up close, yeah.
And
I wonder how that affects his impressions, like with his face. Oh, he's not really a face guy.
he's doing guys people forget how they sound now. Here's Eisenhower. Well, I guess that's him. I could do Eisenhower. Here's Eisenhower right here. Who did he hear? Did he hey? Who the fuck knows what Eisenhower sounds? There's 3 guys listening going, that doesn't sound a thing like Eisenhower.
You know, I saw Rich Little last time he was in town. He was doing Broderick Crawford. Exactly.
Oh,
you sound a bit like Broderick.
Well, I don't know about get it.
Roderick Crawford.
Don't you know who that is?
Never heard of that.
Oh man, well you're just parading your ignorance now.
How did you meet Rich? Paul, not Little.
Montreal, years ago. But we first, his first Edinburgh was my first Edinburgh.
That was 95 when you first met.
That's right.
Because that was when I was driving across the country, and I saw Rich Hall in Calgary a week beforehand, and he gave me gas money to get to Montreal.
He's a doll,
just
isn't he?
a doll.
Yeah.
And that was my first trip to
We
Montreal.
hit it all. I knew him. I was about to get out of the business because everything was going so PC, and this 1994, and everyone tells you, "Oh, Dirty's easy. Who gives a shit about Dirty?" And I did a bit at the Nancy show, and Rich Hall, who was a huge fan of it at the time, came backstage and went, "That bit you did, that made me laugh. I was crying." And he, saved me, sort of. And then, a year goes by, and we just ended up, and now we're like best friends. And it's...
Yeah, and you're...
It took me a year. I had to actually take him aside at a bar in London and put just a pile of beer in front of him and I. Because at this time I was living with him. And I still got spooked looking at him. It still freaked me out. So I said, all right, tell me everything you've done till now. And we sat there forever. And now I'm his, godfather of his child. And, we have pictures of the kids at the house. And it's still, every so often, I still shake my head and go, fuck, that's still Rich.
Yeah.
He's had you on his TV show. He's got lots of shows in England, doesn't he?
We've done 3 together so far.
Yeah.
And I very proudly play his sidekick.
One of those is on YouTube. I happen to see an election special or something.
We did that one. We did the last one we did was called The Cattle Drive, where we tried to make a Western in Britain.
I like that.
And every episode it just fell apart because it was based on freedom, an elbow room, and they didn't get it.
Have you played in the States much?
Done Vegas, did Boston, big festival with a friend of mine, and that's it.
That's it.
I've been invited, but right now, Britain's cooler. I would not drop Britain for anything right now for stand-up.
Really? Because Pete, you travel all around the States still. Isn't that still? I mean, that's where it's happening, right? Showbiz. Even not in Middle America necessarily.
States. I've been doing the States just because of the money, headlining the clubs, and there's a certain level of prestige that in headlining U.S. clubs. But you know what? After these last couple trips to Britain, I have no love for the States right now.
I have a friend of mine, and Jeremy
Hunt
and I did Ireland together.
He's a monster.
He's a money machine.
Yeah.
Jeremy and I did Kilkenny.
Yeah.
And God bless him. He's been one of my best friends for many, many years. Put his arm around me, and we're in the middle of Kilkenny, Ireland. And he looked at me and went, Mike, who wants to be the king of this shit?
Yeah.
And
he doesn't get it.
And then he looked at me and goes, I'm doing Reno next week. And that just crept up my back like this. Oh, really? Hey, with big vinyl-assed people. Hey, with their stretchy shirts coming out to see you because they've lost a great deal of money on the machines. Could you?
Yeah, the level of respect that the British and the UK audiences have, and Ireland, for comedy is just...
For any performance.
Everything that I've been looking for my entire life.
They have an actor's church. where actors... they've built a church based on people in showbiz.
What do you mean by that? They are the clientele? They are the people that go there?
Just press rewind, and I'll say it again. An actor's church. They've made a church because actors didn't make a lot of money years ago, where they could pray and go to and be religious and churchy, but still network.
Now I get it. Thanks for the rewind.
I had to say network.
You're going to be seen do 70 million homes soon, right?
Why?
Corner Gas, WGN US.
Oh,
First season.
Cousin Carl.
Cousin Carl.
Yeah, playing his cousin.
Can you believe the success of that show now? I mean, Brent Butt was just throwing the first pitch out at Wrigley Field at the Chicago Cubs game.
I've said it before. I'll say it forever. He's, of all the people I've ever met, he's the one I'm thrilled of his success. He's the only thing I'm a bit jealous about his show because there's no television show out there And there will never be a television show out there as funny as watching Brent work for 45 minutes to an hour in a comedy club scenario, and I fucking miss him. Because that was one of my biggest thrills in life, was working with him in a stand-up scenario. His show is wonderful, but it's not. I'm jealous. That show took my Brent away from me.
All of our Brents, yeah.
Yeah.
And the younger comics coming up too, they go, Brent Butt was a stand-up. He was funny, Well, they don't even really know, because here in Vancouver we used to see him several times a week, just in rooms, right? And so now some of the young comics, they go, oh, that guy on TV.
Well, I think that's what TV is.
Right.
TV is you can't get what you get in a stand-up comedy club with someone as good as Brent anywhere.
Yeah, where would you capture that magic? Of
No, you
stage
can't. That is the true test of what do they call that reality? Virtual reality.
Yeah.
I think if you want to ever test it, it's not guys humping Marilyn Monroe. It's if you can actually pretend you're in a great nightclub watching a great stand-up comic. If you can fake that, then TV's on its way. Yeah. But until then, it's just robbing great nightclubs of fabulously funny people.
Yeah, that organic, real quality, because there's that risk. There's that chance this could all fail at any moment, or it could blow up into something bigger than you could ever imagine.
I love that Raymond show. I think it's one of the best one of those family-oriented sitcoms, but his stand-up is way better.
Yeah.
Sure.
Watching him when I used to work with Ray Romano back at the Comedy Works in Montreal, he'd come up twice a year, and just in that little tiny room, 125 people maybe, tops in that little room. Yeah, it's so fun to watch. Just, amazing.
Even seeing stand-up on TV, right? It's not organic.
Horrible. Nothing kills stand-up comedy quicker than television. Whether it's A&E's Comedy in the Road years ago.
They tried so hard.
Or what's that horrible Ben Guyot's Studio Club 54?
That baffles me. Where the hell did that show come from? I've never heard of it or seen it, and now I see it all the time.
Burlington, Ontario.
And is it like all from like the 80s or something?
No, just their performers are.
It's just horrible.
It's the shittiest show ever on TV.
Wow. And
I will.
And they won't take my pitch. Yeah, they'll air that.
May I? Sadly, I did the pilot.
Really?
Never was on the show after that because it was embarrassing. My funny comedy might have helped get that show on TV, so that will be something I have to live with for the rest of my life.
What does the success of Corner Gas, does it help you guys?
Yes.
Guys like you?
I have two things I'm working on right now that I never would have had that opportunity unless Brent Butt made money.
Right.
Like, that screwed Canadian television right there. Oh, my God, this guy's making money. Maybe we can make some other shows.
I don't even have an agent.
But you gave up. You gave up. Then congratulations.
You win.
I, on the other hand, I'm thinking this through.
This is a project with you and Derek Edwards?
No, that went down the shitter quick.
Oh, okay.
We're too old, apparently.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's stupid. But, no, I'm doing a thing with the guy that I did It's All Gone Pete Tong with. And I trust him immensely. And he ended up doing something cool. Yep. Like, Pete Tong ended up being a cool movie.
Oh, what a great role. It was so you, that role. I mean, you didn't have to act. That's you showing up the first night I saw you in England.
I found out fucking, I'm pitching him. The fact is, everyone goes, I had no idea you can improv. And you have to go, no, I just can't remember scripts. I'm improving because the guy hasn't said cut yet. So I'll just keep rambling until someone throws a brick at me. See, now what's happening now, ladies and gentlemen, on the radio, is all my friends and the staff, except for, they're all looking at me talk now, and they're all going, look at the fucking head-on mic. Look at him. Blah, blah.
All the Pete Tong talk.
I'm just wondering who he had to blow.
Who I had to blow? I wish.
$1 million.
If it was all about blowing a guy, I would have done that years ago when I would have really put something into it, too,
That was your first really famous bit.
Knocked the back of my throat a few times. What? What?
You were telling me about the acting tips you got from the director.
Oh.
Yeah.
He said the only acting tip that ever sunk in, he goes, Mike, try to lose your listen face. Because the other actor would talk, and when he did, my face just got stuck in time.
You're like Daisy, my
And
dog.
I would wait. Well, yeah, with dumber. And he would like in real life. You just have a. You don't actually have to wait till somebody like elbows you to like. Now it's your time to talk. And if he didn't like the way my face was going, he'd actually move it with his hand.
Come right up to you.
Yeah, but we get along because I don't give it much thought. Like most things in life, I think if you overthink it, you trip. You know, with this, if you just go to the truth of it, like all right, like quit using your listen phase. All right, try to dumb it down as big as possible. It's pretending, it's acting, for Christ's sake. It's not something clever. The whole world is fucked up now because we think the people that can act are clever. We watch them on fucking TV. Oh, war is wrong. Thank you, clever actor. Like, it's bullshit. They're just fucking bunch of dummies. They have nothing in them so they can mimic another human. It's the whole concept of celebrity, for fuck's sake.
Have you done much acting?
I don't know.
Any?
But no, yeah, a little. But I just.
You necked with a guy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You came home to the flat.
That wasn't any
and
guy.
You were proud of it.
That was Costas Mandalore. That wasn't.
And how many people right now are going, who?
Googling them.
I had to make out with a guy in a movie.
And he was thrilled. We were at the flat in London, and he's telling me like, I didn't get on it. We were necking as actors, two men sharing a moment.
Yeah, acted my heart on.
That was yeah.
Well, what were you going to say about acting?
I just they're idiots.
It's all shit.
Why we give a voice to people that are pretty? I don't understand for the life of me. It just doesn't make sense.
So the two projects you have going, you're an actor, right? Or is it a reality type thing?
No, it's acting. But I'm acting with normal people and most working types. It's once you become successful, that's when you become a knob. You know what I mean? Like when I tell cock jokes for a living. If I ever got to the point where I made millions, I would become a complete knob. I'm convinced I would listen to idiots. Oh, you're wonderful. You're really. I want a crown of gold. You gotta go nuts. Like look at that. The fatty that's running around now, the young kid, she was a singer, looked like a whore. We didn't know she was too young. Now she is a whore. Brittany, that one. When she was really young, everyone would go, hey, she's too young to be a whore. And then she became a whore, and now she's a fat old whore. And people are still giving her grief for a whore. And everything is Shakespeare now. Everything is fucking tragedy. Nothing's based on talent.
Can I ask a question about Pete Dong? I know you're doing the interview.
We have a question about
great,
Pete Dong,
This is a call-in, by the way. That's how.
Oh, that's great. This is a really cheap radio show, and the call-in is only just sitting over there.
I walked up and tapped on the window.
Caller number one.
We have a line open.
Hold on. Hot Blondie has a question.
Yes.
Let's all go. How long did it take when you were banging on the window with the two deaf people in the kitchen?
How long was that take when you were banging on the window?
Well, that scene, this is what's fun about the movie industry. I couldn't actually bang on the window because it would have broke.
Oh, really?
And those two weren't actually deaf. So I had to fake banging on it. It's all, it's scary. It's all a lie. That's what the movies are. Like most of the scenes, you do the voices later. Like a fucking cartoon. I didn't even know what that movie was about forever. I went to see the preview or the premiere. There's difference. Preview means it's at your house. Premiere means there's a car involved. They picked me and the wife up in a limo from our crack house in Toronto. Drove us in front of this theater in Yonge Street in Toronto with the lights going back and forth. Like real celebrities are on this red carpet, and me and the wife. So there's Matt Damon and Well, the guy that fucked everyone.
Cloris.
He nailed Cloris Leachman. He said she was the hottest fucking.
Leachman?
Yeah, hold on.
How old is this guy?
Warren Beatty. Yeah.
All right.
Warren Beatty's there with his wife. We're all probably successful Oscar-winning actors.
Annette Bening.
Annette Bening, that one, and me, and my wife, and this woman from Entertainment Tonight, with a guy with a camera next to her, looks up to me and goes, "Who are you wearing?" And I looked at her and I went, "Moors, the suit people. If you got $300 and you don't want to look like a bag of shit, I suggest going to Moors. They got shoes now." And then the light went off on the camera and I was left alone.
You talk about doing dick jokes, cock jokes. I saw you here at the comedy.
I'll do either one.
Either dick or cock. Saw you at the Comedy Fest here a couple of years ago.
Horribly run.
I
don't know if you know Will. Lovely guy, trying his darndest, but, come on, he's an idiot.
You were doing a show. It was purportedly a 5-minute TV friendly show.
Oh, that bullshit with...
You couldn't even do it for 5 minutes.
Stupid fucking buggers.
Exactly.
Look,
this is what you're saying.
Here we go. Canada's crazy about the Letterman show. And a buddy of mine who opens and does the warm-up for Letterman, Eddie, and does show tapes to Dave. But I've known Brill for years because, just doing jokes. In Canada, they push that as a special show. Like, you're going to audition in front of Eddie Brill. Fuck, Eddie Brill has slept on my floor. Yeah. I'm not auditioning in front of fucking Eddie Brill. I went on and did my show and ripped it up, and no one else did because it's boring. And we hugged and skipped all the way back.
And no one else got the show anyway.
No one got the show.
I would be hard-pressed to hear if anybody has ever gotten the show from doing an Eddie Brill show.
Eddie, honest to God, Eddie, when he first started, he did warm-up.
Yeah.
And he brought stand-up back to Letterman because he did no stand-up for a while. He had Bill Cosby doing a set. He had Don Rickles do a set. He had Bob Newhart did a comedy set. He did a lot. The scam he's got on the side, I think, is beautiful. I fucking hope he's in a big hot tub right now. That's right. The whole fucking game is a scam.
Yeah.
I love it when someone's doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I do kind of find it funny.
Yes, you do.
Because, I think it gets him half his bookings and everything like that. Just sort of...
Hot Blondie!
Brings the Letterman mystique to your little town. But he's a good guy, and he's a good and all that stuff. But nobody's going to get the show from these things.
We had him on our show last week.
All right.
Yeah.
I think if you were that good...
Yeah, I mean, but
he would slide a tape. But who's that good? 1% is that good,
and everyone knows him anyway.
Comedy, look, no matter how many clubs they open, it's always the same way. People go, "Why ain't girls funny?" Well, that's horseshit. Girls are really funny.
What?
10% of hold on, let me complete. 10% of the comedy population are women, and 10% of those women are funny. It's all about fucking numbers.
Yeah. Same percentages for men. 10%.
For men, it's 10% of funny.
Yeah.
And I think that explained it for years. If there were 50% of women in the game, the same numbers would apply. Well, not the same, but the same adjacent to that. Yeah, proportional. So doing it is. There was a wonderful line I saw on Dave Thomas and Ian Thomas are now doing this like fucking.
Dave Thomas, the Wendy's guy, or Dave Thomas?
No, Dave, our Dave. SCTV Dave. And Ian Thomas, Glider. Whoa, Glider. See, he's a kid. They don't know.
Ian and Sylvie.
Ian, no, not Ian. No, Ian Thomas.
Ian Tyson, right, Ian
Thomas.
Okay, right.
And Dave Thomas.
Yeah.
Are doing a tour. Fuck off, all of you. So, they asked Ian Thomas, who's a singer, what's comedy? And he rambles forever. Then they asked Dave Thomas, who's been SCTV, great comic actor, what's comedy? And all he says is, comedy is a disorder. And that's right on the money. People don't do this. The Dane Cooks do. To find some place that they need to be in. But real comics are fucked. from the get-go.
What's your disorder?
Me?
Yeah.
Comedy.
Oh,
That was
so
my
that's
point.
it. Yeah, but it's...
You're not listening at
I'm
all.
listening.
You're just holding
You
the
say
thing.
comedy.
You're just
You
holding
say-
it up. You're not. I put a lot of heart and soul into that.
I know.
You said comedy is a disorder.
You have,
Everyone who does it
now
has
I know
a
why you
disorder.
have a generic name, guy.
This is getting edited out.
Wow.
No, but everyone has their own little problems, and there's some comics who'll say, "No, that's bullshit." Everybody has their own problems, and it's the same. It's the same.
Like he has
No,
a
he's
strong point.
he's backpedaling.
I know. But
I think he nodded off when I was talking. He did.
I've done that
He
several
did.
times,
Your
but not
eyes
this
rolled
time.
back. Screw you, guy.
Oh, look at this! It's 58 minutes. It's time to go, and it's not just because you're getting hostile. Pete's been hostile the whole
I haven't
time.
been hostile.
No,
He's
ever.
just stoned.
Whoa.
No,
that's
hey,
libel.
back off.
That's libel on the radio.
Oh.
I'm gonna own your independent radio show in a week.
If he wasn't so stoned.
My mom might listen to this someday.
She's pretty wrecked too, eh? Little cooking cherry for mom.
Thank you, guys.
Bless you.
Oh yeah.
Bless you. Like now I'm making it all better.
Mike Wilmot. I did doze off a little bit there, to be truthful. Mike Wilmot, Pete Johansson, thanks for being our guest this week. Next week we'll be back, same time, 11 o'clock till midnight. Next week our guest will be Dana Carvey. So tune in. 2 weeks from tonight, Kenny Robinson. We got good shows coming up.